Denver Broncos had a dream season with their rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, as they made the playoffs shockingly. And now they're looking to see how they can improve and make an even deeper run in this year's draft. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down our first 3-round mock draft for the Denver Broncos this offseason. Before we get into that, if you like the content that we put out and you want to help the channel grow, easiest way is hitting that subscribe button, tackling that bell to get notified when new videos come out. And while you're at it, leave a like and a comment. Let us know what you want to see the Broncos do this draft. Ryan, that being said, let's pull it up here. So we actually kickstarted this, and we did have a couple trades in our mock draft, and the Broncos were a part of the first trade with my Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to be very curious to see y'all's thoughts on this because one of the things I do believe the Broncos really need is going to be, well, one, just skill position players, but specifically running backs. And with Ashton Jeanty falling to 15, I do think the value of getting him there at 15 is absolutely worth the trading of your third round pick. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a Falcons fan, so I want to hear y'all's takes on this. But Ashton Jeanty immediately comes in, and he's better than Javonte Williams. I know they drafted Audric Esme, but he's going to be that much more bigger bowling ball running back guy. And I think Ashton Jeanty can come in, and we're seeing a lot of teams do this now where they have a 2 running back set where there's the goal line guy, and then there's the in between the 20s type guy. Now, beauty of Ashton Jeanty is I think he could be both, but
Mhm.
I I think having him back there, I also think too we didn't really even get to see too much of his pass catching capabilities this past season at Boise State, and I think he that would be an amazing feature. That would greatly benefit Bo Nix and this offense as well, and kind of almost maybe Alvin Kamara esque, kind of like what it was like with Sean Payton and the Saints as well. And so I think it would be a good fit, especially if he falls down to 15. I just think the value is too good. This is a super deep running back class, but if we're being honest, I mean, Ash Genty is different than even Omari and Hampton and
Yeah.
the next wave of running backs.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley Jeanty is in that, in my opinion, Bijan Robinson, Jameer Gibbs. Ironically, I think he's kind of the mix between the two.
Yeah.
But like the Saquons, the Ezekiel Elliott's, like you go look at those top half of the first round running backs, and I think Ashton Jeanty is more than deserving of a spot in that conversation. And with Sean Payton being like having had the success with not just Alvin Kamara, but also go all the way back to like Reggie Bush days. I think that is like just a really good track record of high production out of running backs, and I think Ashton Jeanty would be no different. I also think Sean Payton is a coach that sees the value in having a top tier running back, and so I would be really interested to see what Broncos fans' reaction to this is. You do lose your third round pick, but with that being said, you get a blue chip talent here at 15 who falls simply just because the running back position doesn't quite have the same positional value as some other positions in this draft. So I think it's good value that there. If they do want to stay at 20, Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, Marion Hampton all went right after that pick, and so I feel like that could be something that would be uh, to entertain if they want to sit back and just wait, or if they want to go get a guy that makes their offense better day one. So let's jump in now to their second round pick. This is the last pick that they had in this draft, but we did get them a tight end as well. Mason Taylor has had a phenomenal draft process so far, showing it out pretty well at the Senior Bowl. And also, you go looking at it just 2024, he's really shown to be developed as a route runner, as a run blocker, pass blocker at times. Just really consistent hands. One of the top tight ends in this draft, in a really loaded tight end draft. I think there's Colston Lovell and Tyler Warren that are clearly, I think, like a tier above him. But Mason Taylor, Gunnar Helm, Harold Fannin Jr., kind of all in that second
Yeah.
tier of guys that in this tight end class that I think are going to be really interesting to see where they all fall.
Yeah, there are some needs that the Broncos need to go and address, in other areas, like they maybe can improve the linebacking room, they maybe can improve the secondary a little bit, maybe a little bit on the offensive line as well. But in general, the team was pretty well rounded
Yeah.
overall when you go look at the 2024 season outside of skill position players. And it's like you had Cortland Sutton, you had the rise of some other guys like Devon
Marvin
Villay as
Mims.
well. Marvin Mims definitely was that explosive candidate. But even then, too, Cortland Sutton, he barely was a 1,000-yard receiver. Marvin Mims was only at 500, and he was the number 2 guy that was there. And if you're looking at the running back room, Javonte Williams led the team with 513 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin had 496. Audric Esme had 310. All those guys played at least 13 games. McLaughlin and Williams had played in 16 games. At minimum, I think Williams played the entire season. So I think that's where I think skill position players and getting young talent overall is going to be like the primary focus. And with that being said, too, Mason Taylor is a great guy as you talked about, but if there's other guys that they want to go, Jalen Royals, Matthew Golden, Samuel Williams are guys I think that they could absolutely go and get and be very effective as well. Jaden Higgins, he was taking a couple picks before this. I think he'd be very interesting. He might be Ryan, what's your thoughts on this? He might be a little too similar, I think, to Cortland Sutton, both being kind of that bigger outside X role. But I think
Yeah.
I think a guy like Jalen Royals who can move around a good bit, or if they didn't trade for Ashton Jeanty and Emeka Egbuka, would be an amazing compliment. I think to what they have going on right now.
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka would be another good one as well. Like just kind of that possession receiver to move the chains. Where you have Marvin Mims, you have Cortland Sutton, that are very different, but both like vertical threats in
Yeah,
that aspect. So I do think it would be interesting to kind of see what they would do if they stayed at 20. We'll probably do that. We're doing multiple mock drafts in this off season, and so in our next one we'll probably have them
yeah,
stand pat at 20 and just kind of see what happens. So, but all in all, I think if they come out with Ashton Jeanty, Mason Taylor, I think that's a really positive draft for this team. Like they get a lot better at skill position players, continue to support Bo Nix, and like figure out what he can do more and more. Sean Payton gets more weapons to play with in his play calling arsenal. So I think Broncos fans kind of have to be happy with that alone.
yeah, yeah. And that if you're just Broncos, it's like I think I know myself, and I think a lot of people were just pleasantly surprised on how efficient that offense was last year and how well Bo Nix played. And it really is. It's like if you can just get some more talent on that offensive side of the ball, that's right. Who knows what this offense could be? And I know maybe it's a stretch with Ashton Jeanty, but that being said, I think he's that talented. I think he's going to bring something immediately to the table that a lot of other running backs that you would draft wouldn't bring. Only exception maybe Omari and Hampton. I do think Ashton Jeanty is better, but that being said, I think it goes to show how good Omari and Hampton is. And
Yeah.
you do lose that third round pick, but the immediate value that you would get from a player like Ashton Jeanty, I I think it is worth it. I'm also biased. I'm a Falcons fan as I got the third round pick. So, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. But once again, I think Broncos skill position players trying to beef up that offense and just get as many explosive players on that side of the ball as possible for Sean Payton to play with.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this mock draft here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this Denver Broncos 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.